So a parallel line is a line that never intersects. Algebraically, how do we know if two lines are parallel? Two lines are going to be parallel if they have the same slope. For example, if you had y equals 2x plus 1 and y equals 2x minus 7, then those lines would be parallel because the slope is the same. These two numbers are the same, so that is a parallel line. The other type of line that we're going to talk about is a perpendicular line. So parallel lines are two lines that will never cross because they have the same slope. Perpendicular lines will intersect each other. And the definition of a perpendicular line is a line that intersects at a 90-degree angle. So a line that intersects is at a 90-degree angle. So when they intersect, it creates the little box. Algebraically, you will know that they are perpendicular if they have negative, and I misspelled negative, sorry, reciprocal slopes. Other words, the opposite slopes. So an example of this is going to be y equals 2x plus 1 and y equals negative 1/2 x plus 5. So what are negative reciprocals? Well, a negative reciprocal is a fraction flipped and the sign is switched. So the fraction is flipped and the sign is switched. So let's look at some examples. 1, 3/4. The negative reciprocal of 3/4 is a flipped fraction, so 4/3, and it was positive, so now it becomes negative. Well, number 2 isn't a fraction, but I can make it into one. Just put a 1 underneath. So 2/1 will now become 1/2. It's already positive, so change it to negative. Number 3, negative 7/8. Flip the fraction, so now it becomes 8/7. It's already negative, so now it becomes positive. Number 4, if you want to, put it under a fraction. You don't have to because 1/1 flipped, it's still going to be 1/1. Or if you just want to write 1, that's okay. But don't forget the negative. It has to be opposites. Now, if I do 0/1 and I flip it to get 1/0 with the negative in front, you cannot have a 0 on bottom. So if you get a 0 on bottom, then that means that your slope is undefined. So let's look at how do we determine if it's parallel, perpendicular, or neither, given two ordered pairs. Well, for this, all I'm looking for is slope. I don't care about any other number. All I want is the slope. So to find the slope of the AB line, remember the formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So if you want to label it again, you can. X1, y1, x2, y2. You should have gotten 6 minus 3 over 2 minus negative 2. Two negatives side by side become a positive. So 6 minus 3 is 3. 2 plus 2 is 4. That is the slope of my first line. Now I have to find the slope of my second line, and I'll change color so it doesn't get mixed up. There again, you can label them if you want to. I'm not going to label them. So I'm going to do 3 minus 0 over 3 minus negative 1. Two negatives become a positive. 3 minus 0 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. And I get 3 over 4. My slopes are the same. So that means I have a parallel line. So let's look at number 2. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And I'm going to do 4 minus 2. I'm still using the same formula for all these. Over 5 minus 0. And I get 4 minus 2 is 2. 5 minus 0 is 5. Slope of CD. Three minus 8 over 3 minus 1. Well, 3 minus 8 is going to give me negative 5. 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, I have 2 over 5 and negative 5 over 2. Well, they're not the same, but they do have opposite signs, so they are opposites. My fraction is 2 over 5 in the first one, and my fraction in the bottom one is 5 over 2. So they're reciprocal. So if they are negative reciprocals, that means we have a perpendicular line. Let's look at number 3. Slope of AB I can have 6 minus 8 over 3 minus negative 1. I'm sorry, I mixed up my order pairs. 6 minus 8 and over 2 minus negative 1. Yep. Two negatives become a positive always. So 6 minus 8 is negative 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So the slope of CD is going to be 3 minus 2 over 3 minus negative 1. Comes a positive. 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. Well, they're not the same, and they're not negative reciprocals. So it can't be parallel, and it can't be perpendicular, so it has to be neither. There's no G in neither. So I want you to try the next 3 on your own, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Raise your hand, and I will see you shortly. Pause this video. If you still need more time, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the back of the page so we can look at some more examples. But pause the video so you can complete problems 4 through 8. Number 9. Number 9. Determine if the given equations are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. It is the easiest way to do this is to make sure all your equations are in the form of y equals mx plus b. Because that will give you an easy way to identify the slope. If I look at number 9, both of my equations are set up in y equals mx plus b. So the slope of this equation is 7, and the slope of this equation is 7. So they are the same, therefore they are parallel. Number 10 says y equals 4 over 5x minus 8, and y equals negative 5 over 4x plus 3. So my slope on this one is 4 over 5, and my slope here is negative 5 over 4. Okay, they're opposite signs, so they have the negative, and they're reciprocals of each other. So that means that they are perpendicular. So I'm going to leave 11 for you to try. Because I feel like you can get number 11. So let's look at number 12. If you need to pause this video to work out number 11, you can, but I'm moving on to number 12. Both of my equations are not in y equals mx plus b, so I have to get them into that form. So for my first step on this one, I want to subtract x from both sides. So I'm left with 6y equals negative x plus 30. Divide by 6, and I get y equals negative 1/6 x plus 30, meaning my slope is negative 1 over 6. So let's look at my second equation. The only thing I have to do with my second equation is divide both sides by 3. So when I get y equals 18 divided by 3 is 6. So I'm going to have 6x minus 6 divided by 3 is 2. So my slope for this one is just 6. The slopes are negative opposites, so that means that number 12 is perpendicular. let's look at 13. One of my slopes is already can be found. This one is going to be y equals negative, or m equals negative 1/5. But my second one, I have to change it. So first thing I'm going to do is subtract 5x from both sides. I'm going to get negative y equals negative 5x plus 4. Negative y is not finished. You cannot have a negative attached to that y. To get rid of the negative, or to move the negative, you're going to divide both sides by negative 1. All that does is change the signs of the top number, so that my now slope is positive 5. Well, positive 5 versus negative 1/5, those are negative reciprocals. Therefore, the answer to number 13 is also perpendicular. I'm going to let you try 14 and 15. And I'm going to go to 16. 16 is a little different. Remember, when we are dealing with vertical and horizontal lines, your slopes are either 0 or undefined. If it's y equals, my slope is 0. If it's x equals, my slope is undefined. Negative reciprocals of 0 and undefined are each other. So if you have 0, the negative reciprocal is undefined. Therefore, problem 16 is perpendicular. When you finish the problems that were skipped, so in this case it's going to be 15, 14, 11, 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4. Please come show me your paper in the back. When you finish, you will also be given the chance to work on the homework assignment. Remember, if you have any questions, go back and review the video, or raise your hand and I'll be with you as soon as possible.